hey, hi, welcome back to another video. Today we are finally doing a market vlog. I had a lot of requests for this video and I was planning on doing it anyways, so I'm glad to hear that you all were super interested in me doing a market vlog. It is currently less than a week until my market. It is currently Saturday and the first day of the market is on Friday, super early in the morning. However, I am going to be gone doing my field work Monday through Thursday. So I have today, Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday, and then like Thursday, like night, basically, to get ready for Friday morning. So today is kind of like crunch wire. I am writing up tags. I'm going to be finally actually weaving in all the ends. If you've watched the last few of my videos, you know that I've been putting off weaving in my ends. Like always, I hate weaving in my ends, so I always leave it till the last minute. But today is the day to finally actually weave in all of those ends, and I'm not super excited about that. I also need to make sure that I have all of my sizing correct. I need to put together one more like clothing rack for people to peruse my stuff. Just a bunch of like little things that need to get done before the actual market. I still have like 2 or 3 things that I would like to make. I don't know if they're all gonna get done. One of them needs to get done, another one would be really awesome, and the other one is like a stretch goal. So we'll see how that goes. But we actually have to do the things that we actually have to do, like weaving the ends, getting my sizes all figured out. Like actually, I have ideas, but I would like an actual size because I'm gonna have them separated out by size. I'm gonna have to do some measuring, weave in some ends, make sure they're all gonna fit on the racks that I have. I think that might be everything. Some things still also need to be seamed, however, I'm pushing that off to my partner. He is going to be steaming it all for me while I'm away, so I also have to show him how to do that. But we have a lot of stuff that needs to get done today and tomorrow, and I think I can finish it all, maybe except for the like actually like crocheting bit of like the last few things that I need. I'd also like to get things like packed up and ready to go, that way like Thursday night we can just like load up the car, and then like Friday morning we just have to hop in and drive. So get things all packed up and ready to go would also be great. Part of my show, I am doing custom orders, which means there are also custom orders open for you if you would like. I have a bunch of the different crop tops that I've been making, and bucket hats, and mesh sleeves that I all have set for custom orders. So if you would like those, you can pick your color and your size, and I will make it for you and send it to you. Go ahead and check it out. It's on my Ko-Fi down below. I'm trying to keep my prices reasonable. The economy right now, it's also not my full-time job, so I'm just here to have fun. I'm gonna be making stuff anyways, so I think without further ado, we get started. Okay, I've collected my things. To start off, we're gonna start with bandanas. Actually, I already wove in all these ends in the last video. I was about to say, if you saw my last video, you know I made bandanas and I didn't weave in the ends. Just kidding, yes I did. These are actually already done. Okay, that makes the number of things that I have to do a lot less. We're gonna start with tops. We have the granny tie tops. I also have a small version of this, and this mesh sleeve. They don't have too many ends. I think this one has 4. This one has maybe 6, 9, 12, 12, and 4. So quite a few, not too bad. Definitely will be done today, although we do have other things that also need their ends woven in. But we're gonna start, I think, with this, get these done, and then we'll move on to this, and then figure out the rest. Ends for my tops woven in, both the mesh and the granny tie tanks. Now, vests. There are a large number of ends to weave in on this, so it's gonna take me a little bit. However, then we can start measuring things and getting exact sizes and start tagging some stuff, so that's really good. And then maybe we can actually get to like a mock setup almost. That could be pretty cool. Which also is so tough in a case like this because like I've heard people say really worried about like wash can see, I have a lot of clothing. I'm currently taking a break from weaving in ends because my fingers are starting to hurt. I'm about halfway through, maybe, somewhere around there. So we're going to start sizing our stuff. I have approximate size, but I'd like for them to be consistent just because some of these are free-handed, some of them are from patterns from like various people, so their like sizing might not be consistent, so I would like to have consistent sizing. So I have a tape measure. This unfortunately broke on me like 2 days ago. However, I don't have a replacement, so this is what I'm working with to measure all of these things. I have like a size guide to like help me determine what exactly sizes there are, and then I have these little like size markers to put on the actual rack. I do have 2 of these, so everything's not going to be conjoined. I do have more than this, however those are all like the crop tops, and I already have those like all sized and tagged out, ready to go. So, or at least the tags are written. I haven't actually put the tags on. So we're gonna go ahead and do all of this, and then we will split them up as they need to be. I've officially organized everything by size, and they're in their own little dividers. Here is what we've got. I'm gonna also hang bags, however I don't have room. Obviously this is very full, but we have our extra large, we have, no, extra extra large, extra large, large, medium, small, extra small. Also friend. I do have a second one of these just because this is way too full, and I feel like for a market I'm going to want people to have room to like look at things. Granted, there will also be a table with like hats and bandanas and stuff. This is just too full for all of my tops. Some of this still does need to get steamed. These I would like to get a little bit more loose, although it's not terrible, but some of them do need a good steam. But that is not right now. I also apologize if you can hear the fan. It is currently very hot. I guess the entire United States is going through quite a bit of a heat wave, and that includes me. So it is very hot, so I do have a fan going, so I apologize if you can hear that. I have also since weaved in all of my ends. Here they are, all in their glory. I spent far too long doing this. It is now 5 o'clock. I have my little checklist. I have now woven all of my ends. Now I need to either steam my clothes in case my partner is unable to because he also has a lot of stuff to do. I also need to tag all of my items that are sitting there. Some of them, the tags are written, some of them are not. I can go ahead and write them and then like maybe tag them later. I also have 2, probably 3 more things that I would like to have done, and then I'm pretty much set. If I can do a mock table setup, that would be great, although I don't have everything necessarily ready to do that, so that might be a later thing. I'd have to like measure out how big the table is because I don't actually physically have it yet. I think for now I'm gonna go ahead and write up the tags. I already have some of them like started and written on them. Some of them are already written on them. They have both like the price and then also like what it is and the size. So I can finish that, do the like rest of the things that I just finished, at least have the tags ready to go, and then I might just crochet for the rest of the night so that these like 2-3 things can be done. I can do some stuff while I'm gone. Not a lot. I will have like 4 hours in a car, which will be good to like do some stuff, plus like a few hours while I'm like in the hotel. I don't know, it's gonna be tight, it's gonna be tight. I think I'm gonna go ahead and write up all the tags, start crocheting for the rest of the night. We'll do mock table setup tomorrow and steam clothes tomorrow, and then I think we're pretty much ready to go.
A lot of the knitted fabric that I've made, if a sweater is just oversized, rather than re-knitting it, pulling it out completely, I mean that's when I do go and I use my sewing machine to turn it inside out, so it just seems
So I'm doing my mock setup and I'm a little concerned. As you can see here, I have a lot of stuff on the table. I have my blankets, bandanas. These are a little more scrunched than I would like. I mean, look at all of these bucket hats. It's like no one's going to be able to sift through them without like having it fall off the edge. These I want like laid out so that I can actually like see them. And it's just very cluttered, which I don't want. However, this is my only table. I just got this table specifically for this. So now I'm like, I need another table. I would have all of like the bandanas, hats, ear warmers, kerchiefs, which is what these are. They're like little bandanas, but like large, not quite shawl, somewhere in between. But I would like all of those on the table because I still have more hats. All of these are beanies that I know it's still in the summer, but maybe someone would find something that they want. And this box is like, as you can see, still full. And so I wouldn't mind putting a few out on the table. It's just I don't have room. So I'm not exactly sure what to do. I mean, I have room in my booth for another table. I have a 10 by 10 space. This is a 6-foot long table. I have 2 clothing racks, but those are only like 4 feet long. So it's not the entire 10 by 10 space. So I just don't know what to do. Help. I know you can't. I know the time you're seeing this has already gone by. I've already figured it out. I'm going to wait a little bit, stew over it a little bit. I might ask my neighbor if they have one I could borrow, maybe. They've been very nice. We've given them like stuff that we haven't need. They've given us stuff that we haven't need. So like we have like some kind of a relationship, but I don't know. Unsure. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but we'll figure it out, I guess. That means I might need another tablecloth because I only bought, yeah, I'm gonna need another tablecloth. I'm glad I'm figuring this out today and not tomorrow because today's Wednesday, show's Friday. So I have like one day to like finish everything up. That's why I wanted to do this today. I still have a bunch of things to steam, weave in some ends on some things, finish tagging everything. So I still have a lot to do. You'll see how it goes. Good morning. It's officially craft show day today. As you can see, we've got the car all packed up. It is ready to go. Fiance is currently finishing up getting ready. We are about to head out here in a few minutes. Packed up the car last night. Yeah, this morning was just getting some last minute details. I did figure out what to do for a table. Our lovely neighbors have like a foldable like card table. Not the most ideal, but also I didn't need it to be too big. So that will be fine. It'll work great. And so that's what we're gonna put the rest of our stuff on. Luckily, I already had 2 tables, plus because it's smaller, I can kind of cut it up and use it to also cover the like crate where we're gonna like hide like our cash station and like I'm gonna like write down like what all I sold and how much and like what time and all that stuff. I'm a little bit nervous, but also really excited. This is my first craft fair, if you didn't already know. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it goes really well. Just a little car update. We are about to head on the road. Good morning. It is day 2 of the fair. Yesterday was pretty good. I believe I like broke even on all of the stuff that I had to like buy for like equipment stuff. So that means today it should be all profit. I'll go over like what I sold and how much I made later. However, not right now. Obviously, we're in the car, we're heading there. It's like a 15-ish minute drive. I'm hoping also to get a few more clips than I did yesterday. I'm nervous filming in public, so I'm trying my best. I'll see how I do. We're next to some really nice people. There's a Tupperware lady. to one side. She's been super nice, very talkative, lovely person. And then we have like a wood person on the other side of us. She does like different like wood maps, like the lakes and like their depths, different planters that you can like suction onto like the windows. There's like 70 plus vendors, so there's a lot of stuff to do. Might walk around a little bit more. I took a peek at stuff yesterday morning while people were still setting up after I finished. We did not need the whole 3 hours to set up, so noted for future reference. I also got interviewed on the news station, so that was pretty cool. They like came up to me, the coordinator, during setup and was like, hey, we want to like interview someone where this is their first market. Do you want to be interviewed on the news? And I was like, okay. But yeah, that was cool. That was fun. Excited for day 2. It's a shorter day. We're only going till 4 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. So that'll be nice because yesterday was a very, very long day. So, yay, here we go. Hi, as you can see, I'm no longer at the fair. I'm back home. Is the next day actually, and I did not record anything. I was going to record setup and then I didn't, and then I was going to get some clips during the day, but I was very busy and so I didn't, and then I was going to record takedown and I forgot about it until we were removing the tent, which is the very last thing. So apparently I'm really bad at market vlogs, so I apologize. It went really well. I have all of the things down here on the floor that I need to take care of after I record this video, and also some more here behind me. But it went really well, actually. I'm very happy with what all I've done. One thing I did do is every time I made a sale, I wrote it down. I wrote down what time it was and also like what they bought and for how much. And I've taken up 4 whole pages of items that I've sold, which is pretty good, actually. I did get a few things saying that my prices were too low, that I should have made things like that, my stuff was cheap and I should not price myself so low, which I understand. However, I did that on purpose because one, some of these things I just want gone. Some of it I just want out of my living area. I'm okay letting it go for that little, and also I would rather things be sold than like still sit there because like I priced out someone, you know what I mean? So I'm okay that I undervalued my stuff. That's totally fine by me. I do think I need to adjust some of my prices because my tops are $20 but my hats are $15 and there is a discrepancy there. The knit hats take a long time, so I don't know what I should do about that. The bucket hats, yes, I could probably move down to 10. Then like everything else is gonna have to be shifted around, so I don't know. Anyway, I have a whole list here. Also, one of the reasons why I didn't record as much yesterday was because I did more in sales Saturday, even though it was a much shorter day. They have like a concert and the parade happening on Saturday, and so a lot more people come for that, and then they'll like do the vendors while they're there for that. Saturday is the much busier day. I think everyone knows that in terms of markets. A lot of people are off of work, and so Saturday is always the busier day. If you remember, I had mentioned that I was on TV. There were 2 people interviewing me. The lady had like put on this like headscarf, and so one of my first sales was her coming back after she did her news station thing, was to come back, and she did buy the headscarf, and so that was $10. And I was really happy about that because I wasn't sure if people were gonna like those. I did only have 2 and I did only sell the 1, but I'm also glad that someone liked it enough to be able to purchase it, so that was really nice. And then around the same time I sold a solid green bandana. I believe this was actually to someone in my department, just like a little tie bandana, and it was green, kind of rainforest color that I had showed you before, so that was also $10. The next sale was 15 minutes later at 10:40. 7:45-ish, someone had seen me on the news in my stand, and they had shown my emotional support pickle, and it was this older gentleman, and he came up and he was like, I need one of those emotional support pickles I saw on the news, and like he went straight to my booth to find it, and so that was $7 for the emotional support pickle, my first one. The next one was again about 15 minutes later, and I sold one of my lily tops. It was the mermaid color, and that was $20. And then about half an hour later, someone came to buy my granny square vest. It was the like medium large hyper violet. And then she also bought my hexagon cardigan, the teal one, and so that was $35. I sold all of my washcloths actually, which I was surprised about. Apparently people really want washcloths, so I sold my first one, so that was $4, followed by 2 bandanas. One was again a green, but this time it was the granny stitch design, and then they also bought the pink and tan striped one, and so that was $10 each. I then sold my other pickle a few minutes after that. We had kind of a lull for like an hour. It was during lunchtime at this point, from like the beginning of noon to like almost 1 o'clock. I didn't have anyone, people were eating lunch. But then things started to pick up once again around 1. I sold a Valerie top in the color purple, and so that was $20. I once again sold another pickle, and then about an hour later I sold a caged top in the color yellow. And so that was another $20. At 2:45, I sold one scrunchie in the color pink to $4. That was this cute little girl. I asked her what color she wanted, and she shyly said like pink, and I was like, of course you want pink. She had like a strawberry outfit on. It was really cute. I then sold both my yellow and beige washcloths for a total of $8, followed pretty closely by 2 more pickles. The pickles were so popular. Anytime people like walked by my booth and they were kind of like peering in, they always saw the sign for emotional support pickles, and so they always kind of chuckled to themselves about that, so that was fun. But then also it was on TV, and so a lot of people were like, oh, I saw this on TV, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people came just looking for the emotional support pickles. I then sold my first like mesh sleeves in the color pink, and that was $20. I sold my first bucket hat, which was a pink and red kind of striped, and then their friend, it was 2, I think, teenagers. One got the pink and red, and one got a light blue, which is a solid light blue. So those were $15 each. And looks like immediately I also sold my spiderweb top. I made a video about that, and then I also have a friend who stopped by who also wanted a spiderweb top, but in, I think, a larger size than I had. I then had another lull for maybe 45-ish minutes, followed by another lily top. This time the color Daisy. It was a size small, I believe. It was the like yellow and white one. So that was $20, followed by another mesh top, followed by a mesh crop top. That was $20. And then a few minutes later, another tan solid bandana for $10. A few minutes later, I had a mesh shirt. It was medium, it's green and blue. Mesh shirt. Green and blue. Oh yes, it was my like scrap mesh kind of shirt. That sold a few minutes later for $20. And then at this point we're pretty late in the night, and I had one final sale as I was packing up, and she got the caged top, the size small. Someone got a blue top for $20 right as I was packing out. The show was done at 8 and it was done at 7:54. So that was my day 1. For a grand total of $366. For what I spent on things for my market, that includes the tent, the registration fee, the table I had to buy, my racks, and like hangers, and like tags and all of that stuff. The registration fee was $50. The tent was $124. The racks and tags and bags that I used were all a total of $75, and then the table was another $60. So of my $366, I came out with a profit of $57, which you might think, that's not very good. This was also only day 1, and I've already paid off all of the equipment that it took to do these. That's not including yarn, and I haven't been keeping track of how much yarn like was for each thing, but I know that I've priced things where like I'm making back at least what the yarn cost me. Like, okay, for example, my tops. The extra large will take at least 2 skeins, sometimes 3. But the skeins are only costing like $3 or $4 each. Let's just say $4. 4, 8, 12. I'm selling them for 20. So that means I'm making $8 in profit. Plus also some of this yarn I've had in my stash for actual years, and so a part of me is just happy that it is gone. I'm happy that I no longer have to deal with this yarn. And so for me, $57 in profit is pretty good, and that also means going into day 2, everything is net profit. How did day 2 go? Pretty good. It was instead of the like 10 to 8 that it was the day before, so like 10 hours, it was only 10 to 4. So what's that, like 6 hours? So within that 6 hours, we're starting off strong with at 9:49. I had a family come in. It was a mom, her, I believe, husband, and 2 little kids. And so she bought for herself a lily top in the color kelp. She also bought one of the granny tie tanks for her daughter. And then her son really wanted a pickle, but he had like a certain amount of money he could spend, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to spend the $7. But if you remember, I made this mini pickle where instead of being yay big, it's only about this big. And so I said I would sell that to him for $5, and he immediately snatched it out of the bin. And so they had a total of $45. 10 minutes later, I sold one of the granny stripe bandanas where it was mostly pink but with a few stripes of tan. I had quite a few of those, so I'm happy that one sold. Then I had a lily top in this color wine. This was a cute girl. She was fairly tall, but she really wanted one of my tops, one of my crop tops. Her mom was there, and she was super fun. She wasn't sure if she wanted to pay $20 for a top that, you know, she couldn't wear to school, but she wanted one so bad. She kept coming back to my stall and like looking at the tops that were in her size, and eventually she came back the next day and her grandma paid for her top, and so she was so excited to have this top, and so she picked the lily top in the color wine. And then a few minutes later I sold my last mesh sleeves. This was in the color green. It was that green variegated yarn, and so that was also $20. A few minutes later I sold once again another lily top in the color sea glass, and then a few minutes after that I had someone come and they got a granny stitch bag that was one of the patterns by TL Yarn Crafts. I'd gotten that in like the Hobie mystery like advent calendar 2 years ago, and so I made that bag and I'm very happy it went. It was my only bag that I sold, which was really surprising. I think I need to move where they are because I had them hanging with the tops, and so I think a lot of people thought that they were tops. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out for those. And then they also bought a solid green bandana for a total of $40. Everyone had been eyeing. I had like extra small, medium, and then large, extra large. And everyone kept eyeing on the large was this like granny stitch top that I had made quite a while ago, but I had used like 3 different blues, and so it kind of made like this nice kind of like half triangle, this little like upside down V design on it, and everyone kept looking at that top and loving the way it looked, but no one had actually bit the bullet until this person did. They got the granny stitch crop top, and that was blue. Mind you, at this point we are now like during the parade. Like the parade is currently happening and I'm still getting customers. After that I sold another mesh crop top in the color purple, followed closely by yet another pickle. And that actually was my very last pickle. Since then, I have actually had one person order one on my custom orders because I realized whenever I had one left that I'm gonna need to open up some custom orders for these pickles because apparently I should have made more, I just didn't have the yarn. So I've since ordered the yarn and I put on some custom orders, and so I have one for a pickle, and then a bunch of my family members now also want pickles, so I think I have like 4 of them to make. So as soon as the yarn gets here, I guess I'm making more pickles. After that, I sold another lily top in the color blue, and that was $20, followed by my very last washcloth for $4. It was this really sweet older lady, and she came by and she was like, do you have any washcloths? And I'm like, you are in luck, I have one left for $4. And she said, I will take it. So that was really nice. My next one was a black cage top in the color medium. This was at $124, followed by at $127 I had someone buy another cage top, but this time in red, and a mesh top in blue. And they got, I don't remember if it was extra large or extra extra large, I think it was the extra extra large. And they had come and bought another one yesterday and then realized that they loved them. And so they had like asked their husband if they could come back and get another one, and they were deciding about if they should do the red or the blue, and the husband was like, just get both. So she ended up buying like 3 of my tops. So that was really, really sweet. She said like she tried it on and her husband said like he had never seen her as happy before as whenever she was wearing those. So that was really sweet. A few minutes later, I sold another Valerie top in the size medium. It was that kind of grayish. It was the peaches and cream striped. One of those sold. I then had yet another lily top in the size medium in the color poppy. It was that orange and white, as well as a bucket hat in the color beige. This was a really cute, like, I think mom and daughter like couple, and they were so much fun. I had the daughter try on the lily top to make sure that that was the size that she wanted, and she really liked the color. And then the mom was sitting there trying on all the bucket hats of which one should I want. She was like, should I go with the beige or should I go with the purple? And her daughter said that the beige went with the outfit she was currently wearing, but she wears a lot of purple. And then the mom was like, well, I'm retired now, so I should start to get out of the box. And that was really, really fun and cute. So their total was $35, followed by another mesh top, size extra large in the color sage. And then I had another little girl who they had stopped in to kind of see what I had. They asked if they wanted anything, and the little girl wanted a scrunchie, and so she chose the color yellow. And then my final sale of the day was at $241, and they had gotten both a blue and a gray scrunchie for a total of $8. I think she liked the tops but didn't see anything she wanted because this was my final sale. We had an hour left, and the last hour no one was there. No one was walking around at that point. And I was almost sold out. Like, all of my tops were basically gone at this point. That was really fun. I'm also not counting my in-laws. They had come up to visit. Well, they're currently now up to visit, and so they stopped by and they bought some of my coasters / makeup wipes, 2 bucket hats, and they're the ones who also want like 3 pickles that I now have to make them. So not including all of that, I now have a net profit of $421, which feels pretty good for my first ever market, while also like taking into account that I had to like pay for things in order to do this, which means like next time I think I can probably better keep track of my yarn cost, just because that was a lot to keep track of for this one, plus like all of my other stuff. I'll have more overall profit because I don't have those expenses. They're technically already paid off. The coordinator was really awesome. She was super sweet. We were like getting the car loaded. Well, she had originally come while I was dealing with customers, so she said that she would come back, but then she came back like right as I was packing out, ready to go, and she was super nice. I guess the spot I was in, it was a really good spot, but the guy who normally has it, I guess he's been doing the show for 20 years in that exact spot, but he couldn't make it because of a family emergency, so then I got it. So she let me know that. She already had mentioned that in an email, but that if I choose to do it again next year, she'll try to get me in the same general area. So, but yeah, she was amazing. She was super sweet. And yeah, I just had a really good time. I really enjoyed doing a market. If there are others in the area that I think I could do, I would love to give them a try as well, although my stock is definitely running low. I'm going to have to make some more things, adjust some things. So I feel pretty good overall, actually. I hope you liked this market vlog. I know this is something I haven't done before. Obviously, this is my first market. Let me know if you have any advice for market vlogs. Obviously, maybe some more clips of during the market. I get nervous in public and filming things, so I apologize that I did not get more. If you have any tips on what you would want to see in a market vlog, let me know, and then I can try to incorporate that. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you like it. Subscribe so that you don't miss any more of my future videos. I typically post crochet vlogs, crochet challenge videos, so if any of that sounds good to you, why not stick around? It's free to do so. And I think I'm gonna see you all in the next video. Also, I do have custom orders. They are live. I have crop tops, all, I believe 4 of the styles that I have, all sized. I have bucket hats, I have pickles, and I'm also going to be adding mesh sleeves. Hopefully by the time you see this video, I will have done that, and so my mesh sleeves will also be for custom orders. Same thing with pricing that I did for my market, $20 for a top. I also have like already made, ready to go items, stuff that didn't sell at the market. So if you want any of those, my prices will not have changed. $20 for a top, $30 for bags, $35 for cardigans. So yeah, if any of that sounds good to you, click the link in the description. Check out my custom orders. See you next week.